So a couple weeks ago, I made a video talking about how my husband and I got out of debt and kind of explaining the Dave Ramsey snowball method for paying off your debt. I feel like I'm talking so loud because it's so quiet in here and I'm echoing. So this is gonna be part 2 of that little series talking about how we have incorporated Dave Ramsey's method for all of our financial stuff. Today I'm gonna talk about how we budget for our family and how we have incorporated Dave Ramsey's envelope system to help us keep track of all our money and how much we spend, how much we want to save, and all that. And we do it a little bit differently, so I'm just gonna kind of go over how we do it, and I'm gonna try and make it as simple as possible so that you guys can kind of get an idea. So Dave Ramsey does have an app called the Every Dollar app, and you can go onto the website. I think it's just everydollar.com, or you can use the app on your phone. We used it for a little bit, but we didn't love it because I really love to write everything down. It makes it more tangible for me because money can sometimes like confuse me. So I just have our budget written down every month. I typically do it every month. Lately though, we've been a little bit overboard on our budget just because we just haven't been really paying it that much attention. So we're gonna try and reel it back in, start saving our money again, and not just spending our money on nonsense. So the first thing that I do every month is I write down what our bills are gonna be. So I'm going to do that really quick. So now I have everything written down. These are everything that come out of our bank account every month. So I just wrote down like mortgage, electric, phone bill, internet, all of that kind of stuff. And then what I'll do is I'll just, next to every single one, I will just put how much it is, and I'll usually round up just so that we have a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so I'm gonna write down how much everything costs now. I'm just looking at last month's budget. I do this every single month because if I didn't, then it would be really difficult to keep track, and just in case something changes, because every once in a while we'll have a bill and it'll change. So you can see I've written down all the costs of everything, and then after I do that, I am going to add everything up, and at the bottom of my page, I'll have our total. So every month our total for our bills is about $2,500. So with this total, this is the number that I want to have in my bank account at the beginning of the month. So Anthony gets paid every 2 weeks. So usually I will start this. The closest paycheck that he gets to the first of the month, I will make sure that we keep that in the bank to equal this amount of money. I don't know if that makes sense. Anthony gets paid twice a week and then once at the end of every month. So the paycheck at the end of the month before the first is usually our bill paycheck. So he'll get paid, and then we'll make sure on the first we have $25.40 in our bank account. So we have that for our bills, and then we'll move however much we want to move into our savings account, and then the rest we take out in cash. So the only money that we have in our account is for our bills. So once we get paid and we take out cash, we no longer touch our debit card. So that is strictly for bills. That's why I write out my budget, and then I will write down how much is going into savings. This really depends on the paycheck because Anthony works a lot of overtime, so every paycheck is different. So every time he gets paid, it'll be a different amount that goes into our savings. And I'm just talking about Anthony's paycheck right now because my pay is very sporadic. So I will jump into how we budget with my paycheck in just a minute. So once you pull out your cash, let's say, for example, you pull out $800. Now, for us, we use physical envelopes. You can see they're all like ratty because we've been using the same envelopes for years. And we have a million of them. So once you get your envelopes, you're gonna break your envelopes down into categories. And I'm just gonna show you guys probably the main ones, and then I'll show you some of the extra ones that we have, because these are not gonna apply to everybody. When you're budgeting and you're trying to save money, what you wanna do is you want to prioritize what you truly need to survive. So what you need to survive with these envelopes is obviously going to be groceries, gas, and then give yourself some spending money. These envelopes all look different because I've done them multiple times. So some of them look like that and some of them look like that. Like I said, I'm going to redo all of them this week. So spending, gas, and groceries. If you only have $300 that you pulled out of your bank account to spend on the next 2 weeks, these are the categories that you're going to want. Everything else doesn't matter while you're trying to save money. So for example, every 2 weeks, we try to be so stingy with our money because we just truly want to save, and we're trying to pay for a house and everything. So in my grocery envelope, I only allow for $100 every week. So every time we pull out cash, I put $200 in the grocery envelope. And then for gas, we recently moved closer to town, so we don't use a ton of gas. I probably fill up my tank once a week unless we're going somewhere. So I will probably put, oh my gosh, I just watched a tree fall over. Okay, where was I? So I'll put like $150 into my gas envelope. Okay, so you have that. Once you, and I'll show you a few more envelopes to give you an idea of what you can do. We have an envelope for our dogs. We have a medical envelope for co-pays and stuff like that. We have a clothing envelope. We have auto envelope, that's for oil changes, any like sort of upkeep for the cars. Auto registration, because that can be really expensive. We have a Christmas and holidays envelope. This is like Christmas, birthdays, everything like that. Anthony has an envelope. I have an envelope. And Reese has an envelope. And then we like to get really specific. So if you want to see some of my very specific envelopes, I guess isn't that specific, but household envelope is for like toiletries, like toilet paper, paper towels, like anything cleaning stuff, I take from that envelope. We have a childcare envelope because we have a daughter, so I have set aside some money for when I'm working and need to pay for a babysitter. We do have a vacation envelope, but we now just made a savings on our bank account, and we just put money directly into that savings account. It's just easier than having cash when you're saving up that much money. And then I have a makeup and toiletries envelope. I don't put a lot in there, but every once in a while if I need to buy some new makeup, it's kind of expensive, so I just pull from there. And then I also have a business envelope for myself, but I haven't been using it lately because again, we've just made a separate savings account for my business. So those are some ideas of what you can do for your envelopes. You can be as specific as you want, but you need to like make sure you have your priorities straight. But you can have like 20 envelopes and just put like $20 in each one, and then slowly over time it's going to build. The biggest thing about the envelope system, if you have a spending envelope, so for us the spending envelope is typically used to like go out to eat, get coffee, like that's mainly what we use it for. And we don't put a ton in there. So once the money from the spending envelope is gone, it's gone. So if you are a week in and you still have to wait another week for a paycheck and you don't have any money left in your spending envelope, you're done. You don't go out anymore. You just eat at home, you save your money, and you wait until your next paycheck, and then you fill up the envelope again. And as you start doing this, you kind of start to figure it out, like how much you need, how much you can live on, and how much, or some envelopes you'll be like, oh, I'm putting a little bit too much. Like I really don't need that much gas for 2 weeks. And then you can move that money somewhere else. So it's been really helpful for us. Like I said, we have not been super strict with it the last few months. Just because we bought a house and then we've had like different expenses that we just really weren't used to. And so we were just like, oh, we'll just like spend our money sporadically. And that has not been great for us because we have not been saving as much money as we should be. So that is the envelope system. So some of you may have weird paychecks like I do. Dave Ramsey talks about when you're in a marriage, like this obviously doesn't apply just to marriage, but when you're married, you share your money. Your money is from the same bank account and it's both of your money. For us, it's kind of different. Well, obviously we it's both of our money, but I get paid. I don't have a set paycheck. I get paid at all different times because I'm a photographer. So I get paid with each of my sessions. So it's not like every 2 weeks or whatever. It's just very sporadic. So we have our main checking account where all our bills come from. And then we have another checking account that is for everything that I get paid. We have a separate checking account for the money that I make. So typically the money that I make is used. This is not Dave Ramsey at all. This is just how we do it. The money that I make, we use for extra things, I would say. Like a lot of the money that I make, I put some back into my business every time I get paid because, that's how I just stay in business. And then I usually put some into our vacation savings. Oh, don't worry. That tree that fell was cut down by somebody. I see them right now. I'll put some towards our vacation savings. Anthony doesn't like this, but how I did it a few months ago is I put multiple savings accounts onto our account because it's just way easier for me to keep track. So we have like our vacation savings. I have my business savings. We have just a personal savings, another savings. Like we have multiple. So I will throw money into our personal savings for for example, we just bought a mattress last month and that was from the money that I made. So it really just depends. It depends on what we're needing that month or if we have upcoming plans in the next couple months. I will divide my money according to that. But this next year, I'm going to start there's going to be certain envelopes that we fill up with his paycheck. And then there's going to be certain envelopes that we fill up with my paycheck. I don't know if that makes sense. Say I make $400 from one of my photo shoots. This isn't exactly how I would do it, but I would put $100 into my business savings. I would put $100 into our vacation savings. I would put $100 into our personal savings for like any personal things we're saving up for that are just like not necessities, but things that we want. And then with the last $100, I'll usually save that for anything that Reese needs, or to divide into some of the envelopes. But the money that I make is typically not for our core expenses. So it's kind of nice that way because if I have a slow month, like winter's very slow for photographers. So like December, January, February, I'm not gonna be making as much as I typically do. So any money that I make is kind of like a bonus. So I think that's kind of like the gist of how we do it. I'm gonna try and be a lot more organized this year because I just let it get away from me this past year. So I hope that made sense. I still feel like I said in my last video, I still feel like I'm kind of babbling. Like I'm not sure if I'm fully making sense or not, but that is how we budget and it has worked really well for us so far. So I would just recommend getting just a notebook that you specifically use for budgeting. Write everything down so that you can see it and go back over it every single month. Get yourself some envelopes, write down all the categories that work for your lifestyle, and divide your cash into those envelopes. And then after you start doing it for a couple months, you'll get the gist of what needs to go where. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about, the next video, is going to be about Dave Ramsey's baby steps. And I think in my last video I misspoke and I said that the first baby step is paying off your debt, but the first baby step is actually saving up $1,000. So I just wanted to correct myself from that. But the next video that I make is going to be about the baby steps and where we are in our baby steps, and just kind of talking about that stuff. And then this little series that I'm doing is going to be complete, and then I'll probably do a Q&A for you guys and see if I can help anybody else out. So I think that's all I have for you, and I am gonna go buy some new envelopes because mine are a little dingy, if I do say so myself. So thank you guys for watching. If you could subscribe to me, that would be wonderful. Leave me a comment letting me know if this helped you or not, and like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time.